I want to welcome our last guest today, Lenora Todaro. She is here to discuss her newest book, Sea Lions in the Parking Lot, Animals on the Move in the Time of Pandemic. It was just published earlier this month, and it's really wonderful. So, Lenora, welcome.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me here.
No, thank you for being here. Your book begins with a question. What would happen if people all around the world stayed inside, away from the animals' habitats? Well, you discovered some pretty incredible things. Can you tell us about what happened?
It's been an amazing unplanned experiment that is still going on, and scientists are still compiling data about many of the changes. So when cities or countries went on lockdown during the pandemic, cars were parked, boats were moored, airplanes were grounded, schools were closed, and scientists started to notice that the air began to clear up and the water began to clear up. And then scientists noticed that animals began expanding their habitats, exploring a little bit further than they might have. And part of that is because there's so much development now that humans and wildlife are closer and closer together. So there has been a lot of habitat loss for a lot of creatures around the world. And this was so interesting because we could see how when we got out of the way and when we slowed down, animals began to thrive, many of them, in ways that were very reassuring.
You featured 12 animals in your book. Which one was your favorite? Which one did you enjoy really exploring the most?
Ooh, I'm such an animal lover that's hard to say, but I love the coyotes, in part because I've done a lot of writing about urban wildlife in New York City, and I grew up in the Bronx, and it was really exciting to me to find out that there were coyotes in the Bronx.
Hmm.
And coyotes are mixed for some people, depending where you live. So I love the coyote story. I love the peepers, the frogs,
Hmm.
up in Maine, because I like the sound that they make, and they're tiny. Oh my gosh, the flamingos are so beautiful, and the sea turtles, as Philippe spoke so eloquently about. Hard to pick, but those are some of my tops.
It's interesting for many of our viewers today. We see coyotes in Southern California everywhere. They roam through neighborhoods. We see them on the hillside. We see them in very urban environments, and they have thrived during this time. And
Yeah.
I too, by the way, I saw a coyote in Brooklyn when I was visiting there once before. So your experience is not unique.
Yes, I know. I know.
Lenora, I love the artwork of your book. It was stunning. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. What are some of your favorite, pages that you have of artwork that just pop off the page because you have the story and the explanation of the animal, and then you have a single page of art every time. And every time you turn that page, it's amazing.
Art is so beautiful. The artist Annika Siems is a German artist, and she was trained in scientific illustration. But she also has a sense of humor. So in
Mhm.
some of the art, you'll notice little funny jokes. So, for example, when you open the sea lion spread, you see the sea lions pressed up against a shuttered store, which is from a real image. All of these stories are based on true events. But she put a little sign above the sea lions that has a fish on it. And it's
Mhm.
so funny because, of course, I'm sure in California you know a lot about sea lions. They do like
Yes.
fish. And I found that so funny. And in the peepers spread, in the frog spread, you see one little peeper, this is on the page with the text, looking up, and there's a little tiny insect up at the top. And the peeper has the funniest large eyes. I think her sea turtles are gorgeous. Yes, there they are. They're on the clothesline with a mask. So she put a mask in periodically, which I also thought was funny.
I think my favorite, the lions.
Oh, I love the lions.
It's such a wonderful image. Well, Laura, what can we do to continue to protect our animals now that the world has started to open up a bit more? How do we
Yes,
make sure we still protect them?
there's a lot of things that we can do. A lot of things that we knew before. For example, curbing coastal development. so that our ocean life and sea life have a chance to breed safely. Turning lights down, which helps the turtles, as Philippe said, but also it helps birds. Here in New York City, we have a Lights Out program that's run through Audubon to try to turn the lights down when birds are migrating through. One thing that is happening around the world that I love is that wildlife crossings are being built. And one thing that we saw during lockdown is that the numbers of animals that were killed crossing the road dropped by almost 50% in some areas around the world. So how do we keep having that good success? Well, one way is building these wildlife crossings or tunnels. There are toad tunnels and elephants underpass and monkey bridges and all sorts of amazing natural architecture that's helping protect animals. And in terms of things that we can do in our own backyard, if someone has a backyard or has some outdoor space, planting a butterfly garden is a wonderful way to help monarch butterflies when they come through. On the beaches, when sea turtles are hatching and when piping plovers are hatching, if we rope off the beach during the breeding area, there's a significant improvement in success of survival rates of turtles and birds. And I think, again, we have to think about, and a lot of people are thinking about this, how to just live more modestly. Do we have to take an airplane everywhere? You know, can we ride a bike? Can we not use those plastic bags? And I think also on a very personal level, what each child might be able to do is, and this is something I did with my kids, is find a sit spot. We called it a sit spot in nature, where you sit and you close your eyes and you listen and you smell, and then you open your eyes and you observe, and you have a journal and you write down what you observed. Maybe you draw a picture. And this is a way that each of us can stay connected to nature, which is something that many people rediscovered during lockdown, how crucial the outdoors is for all of our health, wildlife and people alike.